Okay, this will be week number 7. The date is the 27th of October, 2020. We'll do a little review of lining up viewports, talk about fields, the official way of block editing. And as time permits, I want to go through Sketch, Wipeout, Express Tools, Arc-Aligned, Auto, Number Text, and Flatten. Demonstrate some freelance auto list programs, Num Inc, Point Label, Grow, Saw, Send-MKS, CL for centerline, DXF, file conversion, and anipath for walkthrough animations. I kind of doubt we'll have time to cover them all, but we will try. Bring up the handouts we got. Students also received a week 7 starter. I believe a birdhouse starter with the title block and border attributed, so they can just double click on the title block and up comes a list of the attributes, making it easy. Fields, anipath, okay, what is this? Dot point label. Okay, this is the point label auto list program. Center marks. Okay, it's 4:07 now. None of the students have come aboard yet. Oh, Catheria, you go by Kathy, is that right? I forget who it was that Alexander or Damien, one of the two, referred to you as Kathy. And Sally's coming on. And Sally is with us. Well, Catheria, Sally, anybody got any questions?
Paul?
Yeah, Sally.
Yeah, Dan is with us. He can't use his company computer to do the Zoom, so he's watching along with me.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Appreciate you telling me.
You're welcome.
Still cramming for for the show tonight. Make sure we got my 5. Change that to 45. Good. Now my command area is stretchable now. Never did figure out why it was not. Ali is coming to join us. Got a long list of miscellaneous tonight to go over. I gave y'all the birdhouse again, mainly because the pages were already numbered week 7, 1, and 2. So gave them to you again. You can get underway with it. Please use the birdhouse starter file that I believe I emailed with y'all. And again, it's with the exception of DWG files that are turned in as homework. Most of you are emailing instead of going through the classroom to turn in assignments. But with the exception of those DWG files turned in through the classroom, nobody's found a way to get a DWG out of the assignment unless they download some viewing software. And I think it's too risky to download viewing software, especially if you're using a shipyard computer. So email me if you haven't gotten birdhouse rules and the birdhouse starter file with the title block and border via email so far. This is an old handout. We'll study fields, and for some reason I was thinking we had covered fields in introductory, but I went through my notes and it wasn't there. So let me cover fields that automatically give you the date, in this case, the area of a closed polyline. Plot stamps are popular with fields, although the plot dialog box has another way. I think you got a little more versatility with the fields method I'll show you. What else? Then late tonight, we'll do some fly through, some crude animation. We'll set a path above a sawhorse or an object, and the camera will go around the path, aiming at a target in just about the center of the sawhorse volume. We'll also go through a polyline path, through a bunch of furniture in week 7 starter. And what else? Okay, that's just for the record. I emailed a couple of files. B-size title block is the birdhouse starter. And week 7 has got enough that we can play with fields and the animation. These are a couple of auto list programs. Can't remember why I put them there. Got 4 with us. I think we've got 7 students. Couple announced the family matters or mandatory overtime or something came up that they can't give time to continue the class anymore. It's not too late to register for winter classes. The only AutoCAD that'll be offered is the introductory class this coming winter. I believe it's still going to be online. So consider taking Excel or I think there's one called Shipyard Operations. It might learn you what each department does at the shipyard, maybe. Last I heard, that's taught by Derek Holden, I believe. He was on the AutoCAD team for a while, but found his niche with that shipyard operations class. Been doing that ever since. I might have to cut today's class a bit short because I got to be at church at 8 o'clock for some training for the videotaping or video recording. So can't let the class go any later than 6:45. We got so much to cover, I kind of wonder if we'll have to leave a little bit for class number 8. Again, it's not too early to start your birdhouse. A couple of the attributed plants I got in had the views of the plant, I don't want to say poorly, but inadequately lined up. And that's one of the requirements for the birdhouse is the top, front, and right side views all be the same scale, all be in locked viewports, and all lined up. So I'll show you how to draw lines straight down and straight across. You got to move the viewport, but you can O-snap through the viewport to the object in order to move the viewport. Let me demonstrate that for good measure. I also found the other day we were learning blocks, and I failed to show the elegant method of modifying a block. Maybe because I learned it the old way, where you mark the insertion point, then explode it, do what you need, and then rebuild it using the exact same insertion point. Well, AutoCAD's got a way of doing much the same. It might be a couple steps quicker, but I've never gotten up to speed with it because it looked like an entirely new CAD system at first glance. And I didn't care to learn an entirely new CAD system, so I just continue doing it the old way. But for good measure, I want you to be aware that block editing procedure is within off-the-shelf AutoCAD. Late today, might not make time, but I want to demonstrate the file format DXF. I forget if that stands for drawing exchange or drawing interchange. If you can get interchange out of an X. Anyway, that was AutoCAD's file format to convert from one CAD system to another. It's a text-based CAD format, so you can literally open it up with Notepad or Word. And I'll show you how you can modify your drawing in Notepad by finding the entities and changing key properties or coordinates. Resave the file and reopen it. And see that, yep, you can even do CAD working with Notepad. I believe the computer numeric control machines, CAM, take advantage of this DXF format. go through some processing for, to get it into the CAM programming. But I've been telling students, if you save your 2D drawing in a DXF format, then you can easily hand it to the CAM guy at the shipyard, and they'll water jet or plasma cut out exactly what you got in the 2D drawing based on the geometry of the entities that you drew in AutoCAD. What else? I found, I want to demonstrate, time permitting, 3 express tools that come with AutoCAD. Where's the express menu? Let me get this zoom stuff out of the way here. Express tools is right here. I forget when they came out, many releases ago. I was once told that the express tools come with no warranty. In other words, play with them on your own risk. They haven't been well beta tested. Don't know if that's still the case, but a few of them I found very handy. A lot of people love this convert text to MText because old drawings were done with the single line text prior to the mid 90s when release 12 came out. And so to clean up an old drawing, you use this tool and you just click machine gun all the way down your single line text, and it turns into a multi-line text that you can modify with grips to change the right and left margins. Another command is this arc text. I remember when that was outside of AutoCAD. It was not, who knows who created it, but that's one example of third-party programs done by users like you and me, and Autodesk bought the rights to them. So I'll demonstrate that, time permitting. What else? Auto number. If you got a bunch of notes without numbers on them, there's a way you can bulletize in multi-line text to number paragraphs. With this, it'll machine gun add an increment to the beginning of each text line. Kind of neat. What else? Those are the ones that I found useful. You load an auto Lisp routine. The official way is to click on Manage, Load Application, and then go through the file dialog box to pick your LSP, or there's, I believe I counted 7 different programs that'll work with AutoCAD. Auto Lisp is the cheapest and the most common for beginners. Anyway, you can load the program through this dialog box, and if you want, take me a while to find a Lisp program, but you can drag the Auto Lisp programs down here into the briefcase, and that way, every time you start AutoCAD up, it'll automatically load that from the briefcase. So you can use the type-in command that came with the Auto Lisp program. Perhaps another topic would be creating icons, creating toolbars. I'm a little reluctant to teach that because, you can really mess up in AutoCAD by customizing and doing things you can't remember how to undo. But all these Auto Lisp programs, You could just add an icon and create an icon for them and put them on the draw or modify panel. Let's see, we got 5 in now. I got 4:30. Okay, it's well after 4:15. I guess we'll get started. I understand Dan is with us, so really 5 on board.
Yes, hi, Paul. This is Dan.
Good, glad you. Hey, yeah, I added your new email address to the attendance list.
Oh, yes, thank you. I was able to port in those AutoCAD files to the company with your special technique of renaming, and then I could use that starter file. So that's how I got the homework done late
Excellent.
for the last exercise.
Be careful how big of a drawing file. I don't know what it'll take to flag the IT department. You might frown on us doing that, but just for a 100 kilobyte AutoCAD file, they shouldn't notice. Should I remove your Gmail account? I was going to use mail to both.
Yes, I just can't function with that Gmail account. I had to put an app on my iPhone, and I really don't know the icons, and I pushed the wrong button, and it archives the emails. It's just, it's not user friendly for me. So yeah, you could delete that email from mine.
Okay, I'll delete it. I've had good luck on my Android with Yahoo email. I don't think you get quite the versatility, the choice of tools as you do on a desktop. I do have a Gmail account, but only use it when I have to.
That's the same with me. I don't like it. So I had a question though on doing the layers for that last homework assignment we had to create the attributes, and I was wondering if I couldn't get the attributes to go on one layer and the planting pot to go on a different layer for filtering. And maybe I just forgot how to do the filtering per view. I don't know.
No, I'm at a loss. Your flowers, I was expecting you to draw the entire plant on layer 0 and the 3 attributes on layer attributes. It's probably wise to make current the layer 0 again and then select the entire plant and the 3 attributes in one giant selection window.
And then block it.
Correct.
Is what you're saying. Yeah, okay.
And I recommend putting attributes on a special layer because you can just simply freeze the attributes layer. The official way is using the ATT-DISP for attribute display off and on.
Okay.
But rather than learn another system variable, just leverage off of the layers we learned. Either way. Well, let's get underway here. Again, I emailed y'all and posted on the classroom little reminders for the birdhouse, in part because the pages were already numbered for week 7. So I included them with week 7. Please start with the, I think it's B-size title block. I thought I called it birdhouse starter, but start with B-size title block, double click on it, and it's attributed, so you can type everything, put my name down for checked or your own, whichever. And that'll give you a little more practice with attributes besides creating 2 attributes for the birdhouse itself. I hope there's layers for roof, floor, front, back, sides, perch. I'll have to check that. I don't think it's required in the contract here, but I kind of like to put each piece on a unique layer, maybe just so you can control the color of the piece by altering the color of the layer it's on. Moving right along, first on today's agenda is fields. I double checked and no, I didn't cover it when we learned multi-line text and introductory. So let me show you what the beauty of, or demonstrate the beauty of fields. Fields are automatic text that can tell you the last date and time you printed or saved, the length of a line, the perimeter of a polyline. I find it useful to automatically link to the area of a closed polyline. This 9,670 plus change is the square footage of this parking lot we played with in introductory. However, if you stretch the parking lot, where's stretch? There it is. What's it say? 9670. Maybe didn't quite double the area. All you got to do is close and reopen or type regen, R-E-G-E-N, and that field will automatically update to the new area that you made the existing polyline. All my plot stamps here at the bottom of handouts, all my plot stamps use this field technology to give me a reminder of what the file name is and date and time that I last saved it, so I can easily determine which sheet of paper is the most current, although I also like to put a revision letter in the file name for good measure. Anyway, to create a, let me erase this here. To create a, I'll go to layer 0 just to be, because that's where I think that's where, yeah, everything is on layer 0. You might want to make an M-text object. This parking lot is blank square feet. And when we created this, an AutoCAD unit was a foot. We'll go to M-text command. Click to start new drawing, and the text height is 0.2. So let me right click and change the height to something legible from this distance. Click it after setting the new height, click the second corner. This parking lot is, and when you get to the place where you want the field, simply right click. There's the insert field menu item from the cursor menu. Again, right click in the middle of your multi-line text paragraph, click insert field. I'm not sure where this is by default. I've always set it to all. And come down to object, because we want to specify a piece of data or a property of an object for this area field. Come up to this icon, which eventually you'll recognize as the click something specific after you click this button. So we'll click this button and click on the parking lot. Now, all this stuff can be a field of the parking lot object. I can't imagine, why would you want to know the layer and line type? But certainly the area, perhaps length might be the perimeter for the curbing around the parking lot. Anyway, we want a field that'll automatically give the area of the parking lot closed polyline object. So select area, and then here's a bunch of, a couple of flavors of kind of formatting. Don't use architecture if you've already declared an AutoCAD unit as a foot, because a dozen feet is nothing or makes no sense. Let's keep it at decimal. Change the precision if you want. I'll leave it, I believe, at 4 characters. Additional format. Not sure if this allows, okay, before and after. I was wondering if you could change the color of the field text, but that's probably done through the mtext process, not through the field process. So again, select all capabilities, select object, click on this icon, select the object you want to get data from, pick area of the properties of this closed polyline, change the format and precision and additional format, click OK, then continue on typing. Blank space, square feet. Click outside or click on the closed text editor to finish your mtext object. Again, it's 159 or 15,000, almost 16,000 square feet. Let's stretch it. And again, close and reopen your drawing or regen the drawing, R-E-G-E-N. It went from almost 16 to about 24,400 square feet. So again, it's really handy. Say you want to put the date for some reason, double click like you're editing your text, right click where you want the field to go, and let's see, save date is one option. I've learned the hard way to avoid simply date. Took me a while, but that is the date at that instant. And I don't believe it'll update each time you save unless you select the save date. Another option is the plot date. Yeah. You might want your plot stamp to say the calendar day and time that you plotted it, rather than the calendar day and time that you last saved it. You got a slew of formats. I like the date and time. And another one is the file name. Yeah, you like to use that on a plot stamp. A couple of formats. You want just the file name alone, or the entire path, which could take several inches of your paper. There is a plot stamp method on, let me bail out here, to escape. The plot dialog box has a plot scale somewhere. Plot stamp. I don't believe this plot stamp has the versatility of using a field. I've never used it. I did have an auto lisp routine that had an attributed block that would create a plot stamp, but since fields came out and plot stamps on the print dialog box, the auto lisp and attributed block are obsolete now. Any question about fields? The handout talks about adding and subtracting areas. I don't know that you do that often. It's probably, rather than learning the procedure, you might just copy paste the area of the holes and the area of the big guy and put it in a spreadsheet, rather than the cryptic way of adding within AutoCAD. So probably should take that out. Next page is flybys. Let's hold off till later tonight. And by the way, I gotta hit the road at right after class. So forgive me if I let you out a little bit early. I don't think there'll be any complaints about that. But, I can't stay any longer than 6:45. Anyway, we'll get into some animation. I sent you some YouTube links of animations I did back when I was a professional CAD operator for a few years for the Army. They had me drawing kind of conceptual buildings for early planning. And in one case, the A&E, architect and engineering firm that got the contract to make the blueprints, if you will, for the building, called me and says, "Hey, can we have your AutoCAD file and start from it?" That kind of flattered me, but I don't think I really saved them a lot of time. Anyway, before we get into the animation, let me go through a long list of, I apologize, the handouts are a little weak today, but I'd like to cover lining up viewports, because a couple of the flower pots came in with poorly lined up viewports. I think one didn't have them locked. So just for the sake of the birdhouse, let me refresh your memory on viewports. We'll start with the week 5 starter file. Let's say maybe we start with this cyan colored sawhorse here. That is on layer sawhorse 2. Let's click on a layout. Instantly makes a default viewport. Double click within the viewport, double click to see everything, zoom in on the sawhorse. Actually, it's a little early to zoom in. Change the view control to right side view for the lower right viewport. Now you're looking at the gazillion layers. Wonder how that house got off of Z = 0. Oh well. So let's just machine gun and freeze all of these layers so that only the cyan sawhorse 2 layer is displayed. You can do it from within the layer properties on the VP, where is it? VP freeze column here. However, using the freeze, okay, got to get, there it is. Where was I? While the viewport is active, this layer freeze icon is smart enough to freeze the layer in the current viewport, not globally. Don't freeze from this drop down, because this will freeze everywhere, not just the current viewport. So click on the layer freeze and machine gun everything that doesn't look like the cyan sawhorse. There's the cat tree, mailbox, park bench, table, machine part, sawhorse, desk chair, picnic table. And I'm at a loss on why layer 0 does not display. Oh, I guess because it's just a point, duh. Okay, I'll freeze the point that's all that's on layer 0. So there's our right side view at approximately the scale we want. Now, rather than creating a viewport and going through all that freezing again, I'd suggest copy this viewport 3 more times. You know, the isometric will go here, the top view there, and the front view there. Change each one to the appropriate angle for your view, front view. Zoom in.
Oh yeah, that was a good time saver right there.
This one will be the top view. And keep in mind how to put this. This is assuming that the legs of the sawhorse are on the XY plane. If you make your 3D model with the XY plane going, slicing right through the center of your object, all bets are off on what the front view and what the top view are. Got to freeze this, I believe, text layer. This upper right will be a southwest isometric. Zoom in, freeze the text layer for good measure. Wonder why that text layer didn't show up on the right side view. Now, before you lock the viewports, set the scale identical to all of them. You know, the isometric can be whatever scale fits the paper. Nobody's going to measure off of it. We shouldn't be measuring off of paper anyway. But, you know, I tend to believe just make the isometric as big as the page will allow. Select these guys, and I think today I found a 1 to 20 scale was good. And the standard scale. It's polite if you select a standard scale, because I was kind of surprised, but people still use those triangular rulers that have all the standard scales on them. Next, of course, lock the view. Well, I should pick all 4 viewports to lock all 4 if the isometric looks good. Now for the lining up, don't try to pan. Well, we've already locked the viewport. The key is you gotta move the viewport to line up the display. Fortunately, you can grab the viewport with an O-snap through it at the object. So you can move the viewport and like putting a sticky finger on the glass right where you see an endpoint, and you can drag the entire viewport from your sticky finger on. Probably a good idea to keep on viewports layer. Let's draw a line vertical, and I don't mind if it goes off of the plottable area, and a horizontal line. Move the viewport so that this endpoint at the bottom is on that guideline. It's done. Move, select the viewport, hit enter, grab the viewport. And one of these endpoints or midpoints at the bottom of the sawhorse, and slide up to the intersection, midpoint, or near point. Interesting, midpoint is so close to the intersection.
Couldn't you just type in PER for perpendicular, and it'll go up like automatically perpendicular? That would be one way too.
Yep, that'll work. Or shift right click and select perpendicular. That's another way. Now let's move this upper right and the guideline. On second thought, let's move this one to the left. And then we can window both to center them on the sheet. I'm not sure if you can grab, if that'll be an intersection or not. So let me do it the way I've been doing it here. Launch the move command, select the viewport you want to move, hit enter. Grab anything along this edge, midpoint, endpoint, and go to the intersection, or again, shift right click or type PER. And there it's lined up. Maybe crossing windows, try to keep the guidelines intact, kind of just to show that they're lined up. So again, you know, I'm going to be a stickler on this for the birdhouse assignment. Oh, this one, I think it's polite to change to a higher quality visual style. I don't know that you want wireframe and these orthographic views. Actually, hidden probably would be wise. Dun, 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 dun. Ah, layer 0's still visible. Might have to move this guideline temporarily. I'll move them straight down, say 1 unit. Got a clear shot at the 0 layer that all this junk is on. And then move back for good measure. The double click, get back into paper space. Move, select the guideline, and put it back where it was, 1 unit. Okay. Another thing I wanted to learn you, I think I can demonstrate, go to model space on the week 5 starter. All of these are blocks. I've been learning you to, or was it last week or week before? I guess it was last week we covered blocks. I've been bookmarking the insertion point, which I try to put dead center on the floor under these objects. Draw a line out from the insertion point. And that's not one of the 5 running O snaps. So type INS or right click and pick insertion point. But the official elegant AutoCAD way is to double click on a block. I believe I called it Sawhorse 2. Let's find out. Yeah, up opens this edit block dialog box. You can select any block you want. The double click one is selected by default. Click OK and check out what happens. The entire ribbon changes. And up pops this palette with, I think this is all parametric stuff. I don't know why they're pushing the parametric stuff. Maybe that was a feature that they were pushing to sell the next AutoCAD. However, if you change the ribbon back to home, you're back familiar where you are. So you can add a circle to the block definition and an arc and text and an attribute and everything. And I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't think you could change the baseline. I was thinking you'd have to select everything and move it away from the existing baseline, but here you can change the baseline. I'll move the baseline off to the side so the sawhorse will be off of that layer 0 line. Once, interesting, why does, okay, that's a symbol for base point. That's okay. Close the block editor up here. You know, and again, the first time I saw this, it looked like a whole new CAD system, and I don't want to learn another CAD. But again, change the ribbon, it gets familiar. Close the block editor. Yes, I want to save changes to the sawhorse too. And notice the crap I added is built into the block now, and the insertion point is now off of the white line, or further away from the white layer 0 line. So if one of your colleagues makes fun of you for labeling the insertion point and exploding, oh, okay, I can do it the elegant way if you want. Show them this way. Okay, now a kind of a smorgasbord, I think that's a word, of seldom used AutoCAD commands. Sketch is like a freehand draw with your magic marker or pencil. It's you know what to find, and I think that's because it's a easy way to fatten up a file really big with a little time. And you'll see why in a second. Where is it? I think I got to go to 3D modeling. You know, you hit F1 and type sketch in, and there's a little find me icon. It'll point to where to find it, even if it's not on your workspace. That thing told me to go to 3D modeling, to surfaces, which I haven't taught yet. Yeah, surface tab. And curves. Drop down and, okay, spline, they call it spline freehand, but it literally launches the sketch command. Click on the spline free line or type sketch. You got 3 options. Click on type, and I suggest make it a polyline right away. You can p-edit join everything later, but it's probably less work to make it a polyline right away, or a spline if you're into that. Next step is increment and tolerance. I just kind of accept the defaults as they are and immediately drop the pen down on the XY plane. And the shorter your increment is, you know, the more data points you got. Click again to raise the magic marker, you know, and drop it down a second time. We'll hit enter to complete the sketch command. Okay, I'm still on the viewports layer. That's why it's yellow. Check it out. You click on it and there's a gazillion vertices that are really going to hog up, you know, take a, you know, 50 kilobytes, or, you know, take up more than its share of storage on your hard drive or USB drive, whatever. So I don't know, I still have, okay, I don't have the handout anymore for sketch, but I had my accrued signature drawn with it. Nice thing about it being in polyline, you know, if you are using, how do we get here? You know, after your signature is such, you can use the tools you're familiar with, stretch and grip edit, to make your signature look a little more authentic. Massage it, you know, point by point if you're so inclined. So either one at a time, or use the stretch command to move several at a time. Anyway, if you're heads up digitizing, say, a railroad track, on an aerial image. You know, this might be a easy way. You just keep your cursor moving down the railroad track, and up pops a polyline for the railroad track. Another command I like to learn you is the wipeout command. Sorry. The wipeout command I used before text masking came up. You know, now on properties, in any text, you got this text masking. Where is it? Text frame. Why do I not see background mask? Yeah, here's the masking. You can mask, red was the default. You could put a white space behind it. And before that came along, I used the wipeout command. Wipeout is readily available here. Whoop, that's not it. There it is. On the drafting and annotation workspace draw panel. Remember, I'm on viewports layer, but that's okay. Click wipeout or type wipeout, pick 4 points or more, hit enter, and it's like a cloak of invisibility. Now, what if you don't want this frame to display? You might want to have a white area with no perimeter. Well, launch the wipeout command again and invoke the frames option. There's two settings of the frame option. Oh, I spoke too soon. 3. I was about to say just on and off. Never noticed display but not plot. You can turn them off and they're invisible. But how to put this? If you forgot or somebody else put it in your drawing, especially if it's on a locked layer, it can get frustrating trying to remove this thing. I believe you can still select it and move it. Yeah. Okay, I just erased it, not moved it. Again, the frames option makes the frames visible or not, or visible but unplotting. I don't know, that might be another way to disintegrate stuff that's in your viewport rather than clipping the viewport. Just put a cloak of invisibility on stuff around the print. Anyway, that's the wipeout.
Excuse me, Paul, it's Dan.
Yes, sir.
Did we use wipeout also for the hatching when we wanted to put like an arrow in so that we could see through the hatch? Wasn't that wipeout?
That's a good idea. Yeah, I think you'd have to make a custom shaped wipeout to coincide with the arrow.
Oh yeah, yep.
That might be something for the wish list. Not sure if leaders, you can break pieces of dimensions where lines cross. But yeah, that's a good point. Create a wipeout. Go ahead.
Can you make a I want to call it a ditto because that's what it is in CATIA, a block out of the wipeout and then pop it in so that it's the same shape as the arrows anywhere you want it to.
That's doable.
Okay.
But especially if your arrows are like, what is it, in PowerPoint, isn't there a menu of standard arrows?
Yes.
You can scale the standard arrows. You can scale the standard arrows non-uniformly. But yeah, if you restrict yourself to just standard arrows, having a wipeout to match the standard arrow would be useful.
Yeah, we created a drawing recently where we had some cross-hatching on an item, and then we wanted to put some text and dimensions, and there was another guy helping me with the job, and he must have known about that. I was trying to figure it out like 6 months ago, and I didn't know how to do it. Thank you.
Anna's coming aboard. Boy, do I owe her an apology for not seeing her knocking on the door. Sorry about that, Anna. How much a class did I cost you?
Thank you.
I'll yet tonight I'll have the video posted in the classroom and hopefully on YouTube. Might be pretty late. Certainly yet tonight.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is these express tools. Yeah, let me go to week 7 starter. What's this? Okay, week 7 starter model. Express tools. I seem to recall hearing about them back in the 90s. And as I recall back then, I haven't studied much since then, but as I recall, the express tools were kind of bonus commands that had no warranty with them. They haven't been well beta tested yet. So if you use one of these and it causes something weird to happen to your file, you got nobody to blame because use at your own risk. Maybe by now that maybe they are tested well. A few of them, a lot, in fact, I'm tempted to say most of them, but many of them started as a third-party program, Auto Lisp, which I'll demonstrate later today. Like someone like you or me created these programs, and AutoCAD or the Autodesk company says, hey, I like that. Here's $10,000 or whatever, give me the rights to it. I believe this first one I want to demonstrate has that history. It was an add-on that people would get through modems at the time. I guess the internet was in its infancy. Anyway, before we click on arc aligned or text or arc text is the type in command, we first need a arc. Now let's zoom in on a parking space here. Remember the default size of text is 0.2, so it'll be microscopic in this parking lot. Let's go to home, create an arc. And I've used this in mapping work where a road curves. I think it was Bunker Hill I put on a map to my old house. Get an arc, go back to Express Tools, click on this arc text Auto Lisp routine. Most of these you track down, I think they're LSP files. I came across one in ARX, and I don't know what language makes that extension. Anyway, click on arc text, follow the instructions, select the arc you want to wrap the text in. We'll make the text, I don't know how it got to be 0.4. Maybe I was playing with it and didn't change it. Type whatever you want. Now is the time, say. You can set the distance it is away from the arc. blank space at the left end of the arc or blank space at the right end of the arc, et cetera, et cetera. Click OK when it's what you want. I forget what all, oh, either side of the arc. Click OK when you got everything set. And there it wraps on the arc. Now, you would have thought that you could double click on this thing and an editor would come up. Wrong. Fortunately, though, you can click on the Express Architects icon again, click on, and that'll give you another chance for everyone to change things. We'll maybe, I'm taking a gamble here, didn't practice this. Let's put it on the concave side of the arc. Click OK.
Excuse me, Paul, it's Dan.
Yes, sir.
When you picked on it the first time, the text came up in the properties window and it looked like it was an editable field, just to make
good
your work.
point. Yeah, let me undo. Redo. Interesting. Well, we'll leave it there. Before I go to properties, I think you can tweak the arc itself. Yeah, that's kind of cool. But getting back to your point, Dan, come down to the align text, click in here. I don't know how you can get, you might have to, you know, the entire, I was hoping for a ... You know, for a text editor to open up. You know, poor man's text editor, change it to what you want, hit enter, and that's another way. Now I have yet to see, and well, no, I take that back. I believe I didn't think to look for it, but I believe you can take a polyline and p-edit spline it to make it curvy. Spline. I think I did see an auto Lisp routine that would follow it literally the curvature of the line, which would be really handy for, you know, George Washington Parkway or something really, really long. However, each and every letter is a separate piece of text. Maybe next time I teach this class, I'll see if I can find that. Doubt it's on the Express menu. This other one, auto number. Let's place a few pieces of text down. We'll click, I'll set the height down, back down to something reasonable, type something, and then being incredibly lazy, I'll just machine gun it like each of these is notes in the construction. You know, again, with mtext, you can rig the bulleting to number or letter these. So this is kind of limited or almost obsolete. Where were we? Express tools, auto number. Okay, looks like I gotta do them all first. Hit enter and I hope, and nothing happens. Now let me follow the instructions. Auto order, select objects, enter. Four, five, six, seven, enter. Starting number, that's where I'm missing off. And increment. Well, you want it to start at 1 or 1,000 or what? And do you want it to go 1, 2, 3 or 2, 4, 6 or 10, 20, 30? I vaguely recall using this when I had a map, an army map with a bunch of ammunition igloos. And I numbered them because there were so many of them. Let's hit enter to accept the 1,1. No prefix. There you go. And they're in the exact opposite order. I'm not sure if I failed to follow the directions or why it came out 7 to 1 instead of 1 to 7. What else? There's a flatten auto list or express tool. And I don't know if this would be useful or not. If you wanted to protect your intellectual data, and for whatever reason, plotting to a PDF was not the way you wanted to go, you could flatten the drawing. And it'll take a 3D object and scrunch everything down to a new XY plane. And I kind of disapprove where the XY plane is, but let me demonstrate the flatten objects. Command prompt says select everything. I'll select desk, chair, everything here and hit enter. Remove hidden lines, yes or no. Let's say yes to make it look a hair more realistic. Now check it out. We'll go into 3D, and eventually you'll see this became a flat object. Now, why is it off some point in random space? I don't care for that. Let me zoom previous. I did go to the help screen, and apparently it kind of creates a UCS of your view, but I don't have a clue why it chooses the Z coordinate to be so incredibly high above your object. And the more I think about it, the less use I have for that. I'm going to take a 10-minute break.
Yes, please.
Okay. Again, I can stay absolutely no later than 6:45. I got an appointment at 8. It takes 10 or 15 to get to. All right, let's, computer says 5:22. How about we go to 5:35? Will that be 13 minutes break?
Okay, 5:35 it is.
While we're on break, anybody remaining have any question they want to address?
For the area, a little bits and pieces of it is coming to me from when I was helping the civil engineers. I think you can type in area, and then I remember you saying how you can subtract and add and all that. I don't know, I just can't remember the bits and pieces of it. I just remember since you can type in everything in AutoCAD, an area will come up, and I think it's like addition, like add and subtract or something like that from the object.
Yeah, I don't know that add and subtract are options. Let me draw, let's see, a polyline. I think my handout talks about a region, which is kind of like a two-dimensional solid. I really don't see a great use for. It's C for close. Maybe put a circle in here, maybe put a rectangle in here. Now, that Damien speaking?
Yes.
The list gives you a quick and dirty. Where's list? Yeah, list gives you a quick and dirty area of what you click on.
Okay.
And you can copy paste that into your Word file or your Excel spreadsheet. There is a area command, which is a couple steps longer. Click area. We want to do there is add area. I never noticed those. we want to do an object. And then click on the object and it gives you the exact same number here. I'm taking a gamble. I'm used to typing A for add and R for remove, but let's see. I'll learn something today. Let's go to add area. And this is kind of non-intuitive. You have to tell it which direction you're going. I'm going in the add direction. I want to select an area. Hit enter. Now from that area, I want to begin subtracting stuff. The stuff I want to subtract is at least one object. Okay, and don't have to click object a second time. You know, if the wind's blowing right, it'll, I think 5322. I think we got the, yeah, there's 5322 is the result. When you hit enter, see what happens. Enter again. How can I get out of here? Exit. Hit F2 to get a display. I'm looking for where I'd use the list command on it. Okay, here I use the list command. Did I click on the polyline? I've already forgotten.
Yeah.
74,000 is the area for the polygon, or the polyline, not considering the holes. And going into the add and subtract. Well, it comes down to, what was that number again? 74,000. Okay, I stand corrected. I believe this total area was the 74 minus the 4,000 for the rectangle and another small number for the circle. And we can save all this, click and drag, Control C for copy to clipboard. Bring up Notepad and Control V or right click and paste. Now, I believe that is the area of the rectangle. And that is the area of the circle. LI for list. 4480. 4480. So, yep, it's working. 5322 is the area of the circle alone. Well, that's easier than I remember it. Any other questions, anybody? I got 5:39. What'd I say? Till 5:35? 5:29 right now. Now, Damien, if you're interested in that, some of the textbooks have exercises on creating a table. It's right here. And we'll just place it. I'll scale it up. Anyway, you can almost have a little Excel spreadsheet within AutoCAD. And possibly with that, maybe that's with fields. But, I mean, you can have, you know, room A, B, C, D, E. I forget how you add these. Add another row. Insert. There we go. Insert below. Insert below. There, row. Anyway, room A, B, C. And I forget how to do it. It's been a couple of years, but you can rig that bottom cell to sum up the cells above. And the beauty of it is if you stretch, you know, the closed polyline around the room, wave your magic wand or type regen, you know, the number, the area for that room changes and the total for the entire building changes. I don't know how popular that is. Last week we covered attributes. And I believe the area would be an attribute of a closed object. Anyway, I don't know if this way is any better than doing the Excel spreadsheet method. Yeah, I think we briefly demonstrated extract data. And that puts it into Excel, and I'm not prepared to demonstrate it, but you can rig it so that you change the Microsoft Excel, and I'm guessing it's data link. Maybe one of these upload downloads, but you can go either direction from the AutoCAD drawing to Excel, or change the Excel and update the AutoCAD by connecting to a database or connecting to a Excel spreadsheet. That was a question on a certification exam I took, but they didn't include the Excel, you know, the XLS file, so I couldn't link the two and find the right answer to the question. And that pissed me so much I never tried again. Although I really need to get AutoCAD certification to work for online schools that value their reputation of having 100% certified instructors. Starting to babble. What else? Oh, I didn't show you convert to MText. I realize a few people are out, but I don't think they'll miss this. Go to single line text. Or did I show you this? I don't think I showed you this. You know, before the mid-90s, when multi-line text came out and using the capability of using true type fonts, all we had was single line. So again, you might find some old drawings that have a bunch of single line texts. And this Express Tools Convert to MText was a real godsend. You could take old drawings and pretty them up to meet the new standards. Click Convert to Text. Be on the safe side, I'll click them in order. Now they've formed an MText object that I can control the widths of. Wonder what synchronized viewports does. Now that might, first thing tonight, I selected the viewports and set them all to the exact same scale. I'm kind of guessing that this will save you a click or two. If you've got one, the correct scale and the correct lock setting, maybe.
All right, we're all back.
Good. All right, next I want to show you some auto lisp routines I acquired off the internet, some of them 20 years ago. It's kind of risky because as AutoCAD changes, you got to retest your program. And some of them stop working, at a certain release. Num Inc. is one. The official way of loading an add-on program is add-ins, app manager. Wrong. All right, manage, load application. There it is. I won't take time to do it, but you can go through folder and pick a auto lisp program. And I believe there's 7 different programs. I'm guessing the DBX kind is Visual Basic, maybe DVB, VB for Visual Basic, maybe VBA. LSP is I don't think there's a great deal of difference between Visual Lisp and Auto Lisp. Remind me, I'll show you a bit of Visual Lisp, which just seems like a notepad on steroids to me. Anyway, there's 7 different programs listed here. You can have them all searched for, or just the Visual Basic. I think C++ can program, I'm guessing. What are others? I don't know what ARX programming language is. But anyway, to my knowledge, Auto Lisp is the only one that is absolutely free. It ships with AutoCAD. And downside is it's limited in how much it can do. I would assume it's limited in the speed at which it does. So getting to the higher end programs will allow you to do more and do it faster. For example, I seem to recall it would take Visual Basic to operate a dialog box by a program. Auto Lisp, you need to kind of turn off the dialog boxes and revert to strictly command line. Anyway, select the auto list, click load. And if you want to drag it down here to the briefcase, that means every time you turn on AutoCAD or every time you open another AutoCAD drawing, it's already loaded. So you can use the type in command that triggers the custom program by dragging it down. I'm kind of reluctant to do that because I'm going to forget what's in there. Anyway, this is the elegant method. I think it's easier to simply drag the program right into your drawing. Let's see, Num Inc. is I got first. This is similar to that, what was it, Express Tools Auto Number. But instead of adding a digit to the beginning of a text object, it simply places the number wherever you click. So again, just drag them in, Num Inc. Drag it in, and if you're lucky, the command prompt tells you the type in that triggers the program. C-N-U-M-I-N-C. C:" means, hey, this is what you type in. I'll open a file and we'll do a search for, and sometimes it's not at the beginning, it's not at the end. Anyway, some of them I drag in, a window pops up saying you want to load this for this drawing, this session only, or forever and ever. And you click yes or no, and I haven't figured out what's in the program that makes them do that or not do that. Anyway, we dragged in Numbers Inc., didn't we? We'll again for good measure. All right, Burgener. There we go, Nums Inc. Well, maybe I was talking to myself earlier, but I vaguely remember doing this when I had an army drawing with like 30 different ammunition igloos scattered all over a mountain range. And I wanted to number the igloos. So I loaded Num Inc., typed the command that triggers it, answers the question. I want to begin with number 1, hit enter. I want each subsequent number to go up by 1, hit enter. Insert. I don't remember that happening. Okay, it should say pick point. Just click somewhere and it'll machine gun the numbers. I don't believe you can rig it for a slight offset from where you click. You might be able to select everything and filter and move them all together in one bunch. If it comes out too small, you can certainly go to properties, select everything that is a M text, and change the height. So make it larger. 10, enter. Let's open Num Inc. I really don't know that I can tell you much about it. Right click on a file and click open. And I believe LSP extension files know to open with Notepad. Here right at the top, you see the defund C:, and then some letters. The letters are the command that activates it once you load it. I think it's courteous. Every time you see a semicolon, even if there's a dozen semicolons in a row, but when you see a semicolon, that entire line is inert. It's just a note card within the program. And I need to email this guy. I emailed a couple of authors saying, hey, I'm going to demonstrate your stuff, you know, any updates on it, but didn't get a reply. One of them bounced back. I added this stuff, gosh, back in 2002. You know, my phone number and email address has long since changed. Here, this line is kind of like a script file, as if you literally typed mtext and hit enter. I don't know what IP does. I don't know what @1,1 does. CMD echo turns on and off the command prompt. At the beginning, there's usually a CMD echo. Come on, Burgener. I was about to say, you know, in the beginning, it turns off the command prompt so you can't see what it's doing. And at the end, it turns the command prompt back on. And the programmers would rather you not see what's going on, so you don't ask them what's it mean when it's going on. What else? There's all YouTube videos on this stuff. There's absolutely no mention in my $112 textbook that a publisher graciously sent me to evaluate. Anyway, that's about all I can say. Some of them I've been able to hack. If there's like Grow, let me open up Grow. And Grow enlarges an object, you know, preferably an entire block, that enlarges an object by 1%. So if you want to fine tune a shrub, just you know, click on it a dozen times to enlarge it 12%, rather than using the scale command. But anyway, when you see this 1.01, well, you know, if you change that to 2, then the grow command will double what you click on. There's the type in to launch it. And somehow there was a text file that gives credit to the author. I forget if I did this or it came from the magazine. I don't know if Cadence is still published or not. By George Head. I think you see him on literature and textbooks a lot. Another one I want to demonstrate that I might use for checking for cheaters. There's other ways. All right, why did I lose my AutoCAD class 2020 student work week number 7? This point label. You know, if I had assigned you draw this exercise or this page of the textbook, odds are everybody would do it in a slightly different spot on the screen. If a corner of the exercise has the exact X and Y coordinate between two students, it's fairly safe to say one copied the other. Let's drag point lisp in. We can open it up. I believe point label is the C colon type in. Yeah, C colon point label. It looks at a system variable called text size. So before you use this program, you might type text size and change the default text size accordingly. Can't really say much else. Get this out of the way. What was that? Point label. Did I type it? I had a window. Point label. Just pick a point, oh snap or not. And there's the X comma Y of the corner of that table. Launch it again, and there's the X comma Y for the corner of that desk. And I wish I had this years ago when I told students to begin their drawing at 1 comma 1 or something. The opposite corner should be exactly the right X comma Y for easy grading. Saw is another one, and I practiced this, and I don't know why it was a little flaky when I did it in this drawing, possibly because it uses a system variable that I'm not familiar with. So I'd like to start a brand new drawing. Saw literally makes a saw blade based on the parameters you type in. Let's move saw in. C colon saw, type saw, enter, pick a point. And I've already practiced this. Outer radius of 5, inner radius of 4, 22 teeth on this circular saw blade. Hole for the shaft to mount on is 1 unit, and the hub thickness, which is like a slightly thicker section, is I believe radial 2. And there it makes a nice little ratchet wheel or a saw blade. You can create an entire drawing in a giant auto Lisp routine. I got one, I think it's called Christmas Tree, and it instantly makes a 3D Christmas tree complete with little candles at the end of each branch.
Now, how come you didn't provide that for last week's assignment? Ha ha ha.
Good point. Yeah. I'll bet you the array command is in this auto Lisp. I can remember where my, all right, Burgener. We'll open it up. Yeah, there you literally uses the array command. And the array command will ask a bunch of questions. Double quotes means enter. Pick that up somewhere. P I'm guessing is polar. If you turn off the dialog box, the array command might ask you, specify the center point. Center point is defined here we go. Yeah, I think this line here tells you the command prompt says center point colon. Where you click, I believe, becomes the CP variable that is answered one of the command line questions down here. NT is probably number of teeth. Yep, set Q. What NT variable becomes whatever you type for number of teeth. Okay, coming up 6 o'clock. Maybe we will cover everything tonight. You had enough of auto Lisp or want a couple more? One of them I thought was kind of cool. If you got 3 circles, let's see, circle, circle, 3 circles. Well, these 3 points define, you can draw a circle using the center of these 3 circles as 3 points on the circle. Any more than that, then I got to literally draw a circle and rig my O-snap for nothing but nearest. And I can draw a bunch of circles on the same bolt center, I think you call it, or something. Delete this. And that is the center mark. Why do I keep losing my dialog box? I guess because I'm closing it instead of minimizing it. CL just simply puts a center line in a circle. It's probably maybe the new, that magic way, wherever it is. I'm getting off the subject here. This might have started out as cl.lsp. Anyway, getting back here, we'll drag in cen-mks.lisp. Okay, there's this dialog. Again, some do this and some don't. I want to load it just once so I don't, it doesn't cause confusion later. And I believe it's had the C colon. Did it give you the type in? Well, let's open it up. Okay, there I gave credit where I acquired it from. Written by Tony Hotchkiss. Now there's center MKS, but it doesn't have the C colon in front of it. Maybe I was wrong that the C colon is necessary. Let me do a search. Control home, Control F, CMK hyphen. Okay, I misspelled CEN hyphen. Okay, there it is. C colon CMK is the type in to launch this program. Not the name of the program as I would have guessed. Did we load it? I've already forgotten. We'll load it again. That's right. This time that, there, it gives a little enter CMK to start. I don't know why it says nil. That might be a glitch. Anyway, CMK, it'll put center lines on all these circles, provided the centers are on a, the centers of the circles are all line up on a circle. Again, what was that word again? CMK. I don't know if you could go into the program and change the length of the whisker to make it more like I would prefer it be. Now let's move on. DXF is a file format you can save any drawing as. File save as. Drop down the files of type. They usually got an old DXF. That's interesting. I never noticed newer versions of DXF are a choice now. Let's save this, or before we save this drawing, let's draw a line from specific coordinates, say 16.11111, comma 25.11111. I'm intentionally making the coordinates so I can find them easy in the DXF file. And looking down here at the coordinates display, we'll send it to say 17.11111, enter, and 25.1111111. Help me remember these, okay? Why did it go so far over? Anyway, we can find those coordinates I typed in to use that point label. I'll just use ID, enter. Get back my 5 favorite O snaps before I get embarrassed. Turn off nearest. That is not what I typed in. That is, all right, let me start over again. I'll draw a line from that 111 coordinate. And I'll finish the line, tap on the coordinates so it updates. There we go. Say 40.11111, comma 16.1111111. Enter. Enter again. Erase this guy. And the same for circles. If we have certain with a 10.11111 radius and an X comma Y for the center. Anyway, let's save this drawing in the DXF format. And let me use the old R12, because that one's always been an option since R12 in the mid-90s. We'll save it in week 7 folder as drawing 7. And we'll open up the week 7, find the newest. Where did it go? What did I do wrong? Save as, drop down. Maybe I forgot to click send. Save. Save as. There it is. These DWL are kind of temporary files. I've never seen a use for them, and a lot of times they get left in the command in the files, left on your computer when you close AutoCAD, accidentally or not. Anyway, we can open this simply with Notepad. Where did it open? Why do I not see Notepad opening? Is it behind something? All right, let's open it with a word processor. Damn it. I don't have a Microsoft Word on this pooter. Open Office, I like to use. What the hell, let's stay with Notepad. Now, my experience is that when the file is saved in this text format, it's triple the size of a DWG. So you got that disadvantage if you're emailing DXF files around, they're 3 times the attachment size. Now, even though AutoCAD changed the word for a AutoCAD animal from entity to object, well, this is a 2012 DXF format, but I'm guessing even in the brand new DXF file formats, they still use the word entity for the section that includes the XYZ of all the core of all the your stuff. Entitle, entity. Why did I not find entity?
Oh, is this like an encryption type of sending a file? Is that the purpose for this?
No,
I'm confused.
it's a format that AutoCAD came out with. I'm not sure what their reasoning to do this is, but it was intended to, if you wanted to use a competitor's 2D CAD system, like I'm drawing a blank of what the early CAD system, VersaCAD, I think was one. Most of the CAD programs can open and write to DXF.
Okay.
So it's kind of a messenger conduit between CAD systems. If I can find the entities section, ENTITY, maybe it's entities. There, okay, entities. Here, about 1/3 of the way down the file is a list of all your stuff. There's a circle. I believe it's safe to say that this is the X and Y of the center point. And what would be the radius? And here's another circle with X and Y of the center point. I don't remember. Oh, this might be the saw blade. Didn't I have 3 for one of the parameters of the saw blade? Anyway, let's do a search for the 111111s. I think I can go 0.011111. Okay, here's that line I drew. You can get like an inch thick or 2-inch book on the DXF format. It could be that 5, well, I don't know what it is. 256 might be the color, maybe. I doubt it. It should be by layer. But the DXF will tell you, after the type of object, the next thing is what layer it's on, what color it is, but here, let's change it from 16.111111 to say Let's radically make it different. 50.1111111. And this one, let's say 70.1111111. I don't remember what I did with this. Oh, this is the X and Y of the beginning. Okay, and this was the X and Y of the end. 5070. We'll make it say 5090. So I think the line will go straight up. EOF stands for end of file. I don't remember the entities being so close to the end of file. But above the entity section, I believe, is the the every oh well, here's system variables. LT scale. I don't know what 40 means, but I'm guessing that 1 says that LT scale is set to 1. Text size is set to 0.2. You get the idea. The current layer, I believe, is layer 0. Anyway, let's save this file, give it a slightly new name. Say 7A. Save it in week 7 again. And let's open it in AutoCAD. And I believe this guy will be straight up and down over here somewhere, I'm guessing. Let's see. Open. I want to open files of DXF. There's drawing 7A. There it is. So the punchline is you can modify and possibly even create an AutoCAD drawing with a word processor. Now, getting back to what good is it? Let's open it back up again. Everything that's in the entities section, where did it go again? Blankety blank. Open with. Okay. Everything in the, what little I know about computer aided manufacturing is that they'll all start, if you got a 2D shape of the eagle or whatever you want to cut out of the metal with a milling machine or torch or and whatever, it'll go down to the entities objects, and there's an arc. Anyway, it converts all this stuff in the lines, arcs, and circles entity section of this file into a language that goes to the servo motors or stepper motors, whatever they're called, in the computer numeric controlled machine. And it'll literally draw a, let's see if we can find the lines again. Yeah, here's the line. It'll literally draw a line from 50.111, comma 70.1, literally to, why is that the exact same number? No, it isn't. 90. Yeah, it torches out the line from that X and Y literally to that X and Y. So I think it's called G code, maybe. You can translate this into G code. That'll lower the torch or the plasma cutter or the water jet, whatever, and literally cut a slot between those coordinates. I'm sure you can, set things back to 0, 0 if you want. So that's now you know what DXF format is good for. Translating between one CAD system and another, including going from a CAD system to a CNC, computer numeric controlled system. Unless the newer formats, remember there's several different flavors of DXF on here, all the way up to 2018. But my experience has been that DXF is really limited to two-dimensional objects. There's a similar file format, I think it's .acis, ACIS. I think that's a format that does much the same with solid object, 3D objects. I've never opened up an STL file. That's the that's the 3D printing file format. You can, after you got all your solid objects, you can save in the STL format. Why don't you make a liar out of me here? Okay, maybe that's an export. Other formats, kind of stepped out of the boat here. IGES, that's what I was thinking of instead of ACIS, IGES, maybe. DGN is microstation. There it is, lithography. So save your AutoCAD solid in STL format. Email your file to a 3D printer, and a couple weeks later you'll get a UPS package with a little doll or cell phone holder or whatever you modeled in AutoCAD. Last but not least is the animation. And I made this white splined polyline. No, it's a spline. Okay, I use the spline command. The white thing is the path that a camera. Well, before we do that, let's just do a roundabout. Here's a. All right, Burgener, what happened? Yeah, this ellipse is a few feet above the sawhorse. And this circle is the center point of the circle is where I want the camera to aim at. So the camera will go around this ellipse and always point directly at the center of the circle. I put this red T here just so I could tell in the video, which end is which. That is done with the anipath method, which I believe is, should have written this down. View. Oh, I hate it when this happens. Wonder if it's on 3D modeling. I want to say visualizes. There it is, visualize. All right, F1, ANIPATH, click in the text block. Hate it when that happens. Anipath, find animations panel under the visualize tab, which is currently hidden. I'm surprised it didn't go up and tell me to change the model space or whatever. Well, to save time, let me type anipath. A-N-I-P-A-T-H. Where do you want the camera to be? You want it to stay at a specific point or a path? I'll leave it at path. As always, this icon says click here to select something. And there's my path. We'll leave it named path 13. Now the target, we want to be at a point to do a fly around this sawhorse. And this will be the center of that circle, named 0.5. After I got the name of the coordinate, I can delete this circle to get it out of here. But let's continue on. Frames per second, I think 30 is the default. Let's make it a little less time consuming, say 55 seconds. Leave it at MWV, though MPG and AVI are options. Preview it. And once we click go ahead and do it, that's going to be our video. Should have made it shorter duration. Your textbook does get into this stuff. You can change the visual style. How do I get it to burn onto the disk? There it is. Okay.
What's the name of that textbook, Paul?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me hold it up to you. I don't dare make it a required text at $112. Can you see it?
Pull it to you. Right, hold it right there. AutoCAD and its applications, comprehensive. Okay, got it. Thank you.
It's author's name is Shoemaker, S-H-U Maker. And it's by G-W, Glenn something. I can give you the ISBN, but someplace, yeah, $113 on Amazon. And this has got both intro and intermediate in it. The last part is the last maybe third of the book is kind of a advanced, an advanced section. So the guy asked me, well, what book do I want to evaluate? So I made I specified the fattest AutoCAD book on the list. Anyway, let's click OK. I hope it asks for a file location. Let's leave it as WMV. I've already got one there, but let's override it. Yes. And it's cranking away just like Zoom videos take forever to compile or whatever it's called. Now let's open up Visual Week 7, newest file. And maximize if you want. It's kind of grainy. Why did it come out in a wireframe instead of rendered? Maybe that render adjustment was for the preview and not for the final product. Let's bail out if I can figure out how to stop it. Hello. Okay, this is the next one. This is WV2. How do I get the screen all cleared here? There it is. All right. Next thing I want to do is, you know, that the video we were just watching was the camera following this path and the target being this path. And I believe you want the path, the target path, to be forward of the camera path. So the camera is always pointing down and forward. And because of that, the target path goes well past the camera path. So it'll end looking at this point with this 3D object blocking the view. Let's see, I think the target path, let's do an ID. That I believe is on the floor. Yeah, Z equals 0. The camera path is 4 or 5 feet further up, I believe. No, yeah, about almost 3 feet up. So launch anipath again. You know, again, these were polylines. Splines are either drawn with the spline command or polylines modified with the spline option. Let's launch anipath again. Camera would be path, the white line. That's 3 feet off the XY plane. The target is this path, the red line. And it's interesting, you don't see the red line. You know, it kind of hides the paths. Leave everything the same. Let's just go to save it as, say, WMV. Well, let's call it 3. So I think it'll be identical to, anyway, save it. It's cranking away. Not sure. Okay, this conceptual probably is for the preview, not for the final YouTube quality. I should have looked on that box for a drop down to say, you know, make the YouTube one conceptual or shaded or realistic. Eventually it'll, yeah, I think you just barely saw it zoom in on this solid object here.
Where's the music and the popcorn?
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Big whoop. I emailed you some samples I did back in my Army CAD days when I worked for the Army, not in the Army. But I don't believe I ever used them to sell the design. You know, just to impress my coworkers. Minimal success. Why are these? What's this line here for?
Oh, that was funny, that part you said about the minimal success.
I'm not as good a salesman as I'd like to be. Here we go, homing in on there's the 3D model at the end. Now, if I can figure out how to close this window again, there it is. there's other ways of making animation that I'm really not prepared to demonstrate. If I can find.
What about kinematics? You got functionality for taking parts like hydraulic parts and moving them and pivoting them and making sure that they're still coincident and you know, like a lot of things we do involves moving parts.
Right. The
Just
short
curious,
answer, I have seen animations with gears and 4-bar linkages, and unfortunately, it's a lot of programming. How to put this? You kind of gotta, rotate the gear by 2 degrees, and in other words, it's jury rigged, not as automatic as
Not
the
fluid.
higher end.
Okay.
I'm guessing SolidWorks and Inventor, you can define your constraints. This is a pivot joint, this is a sliding constraint. But the few ones I've seen in AutoCAD, how to put this, they O-snap, they make the aperture really big so they can home in on the center of the gear as it rolls down it's extremely, it's a lot of typing.
Okay.
3D Max is another Autodesk product that's good for making Shrek cartoons. Maybe for next week, I'll find an animation on AutoCAD. I once saw a V8 engine that appeared to be running, going through the 4
Oh yeah.
cycles, but it ended up being a gazillion layers. Kind of like a flip chart, where you make the little doodle and when you're bored with the lecture, and
Oh, it wasn't
each
smooth.
layer. Yeah, that's kind of what animation is with AutoCAD, is frame by frame making your own flip chart, either with layers. There's an AutoCAD slide SLD file that I don't think's used anymore. You can make a slideshow of slide by slide. That's all I got. What should I give you for homework? Tell you what, get started on your birdhouse. And there is no homework for today. I was gonna suggest, using your textbook, make a 3D model out of something and put it in the 3 orthographic views lined up in the same scale. But let's say just get underway with your birdhouse. Any question before we, again, I got an appointment coming up, so we can quit any time now. Any questions? You go to YouTube and search for Auto Lisp or AutoCAD animation. That might be where I've seen these that have 4-bar linkages. But again, I believe there's an incredibly long typewritten macro that manually controls everything. Not like not as easy as the higher end software.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. This is Dan signing off.
Okay, folks, let's call it a class.
Thank you.
See you next Tuesday, and I'm not sure what, I'll think of something to show you. Might get into materials, maybe, lighting.
Oh, yeah. That sounds
Uh,
good.
Those are, I've been kind of reluctant to teach those top. Well, one thing, I'm not really interested in them, but another thing, you got to have a lot of hardware to, do it efficiently and minimal time.
Mhm. All right. Well, see you
Okay.
then.
See you then.
All right.
Have a super week. I could find my control, there it is. We out of here.